excuse me.
Good afternoon and welcome to the St. Mary's County Government 457B Governance Committee held on Thursday, May 20th at 3:00 p.m. We are in the Chesapeake building of the Baldridge Street location in Leonardtown. We are open to the public, so we're excited about that. Today we have Jeanette Cudmore to my left, myself, Rebecca Bridget, Marvin Butler
is on Zoom.
He's on Zoom.
He is on Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, Marvin. Just wanted to make sure we could see you.
He's calling in.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually on Zoom calling.
Oh, thank you very much. Just couldn't see your name there. Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Chris Casalemas,
Absolutely.
Director of Economic Development. Catherine Pratson is Plan Administrator. Tracy McPherson, Plan Coordinator. And I forgot Zane Retzclaff. Hi, Zane. Good to see you on Zoom. Okay, so you're welcome. So with that, we have 1A, our first call to order. That goes through everybody that's here. We do have a quorum, although we have 2 members absent. First, we'll go to 2A, approval of May 20th, 2021 agenda. If you take a minute to look through that, then I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for May 20th, 2021.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item 2B is the approval of February 25th, 2021 meeting minutes. Again, give you a minute to review that, and then we'll entertain a motion to accept.
I move to approve.
I second.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve the 457 Governors Committee meeting for February 25th. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And then we are all the way to number 3, new business. And so I think we have a Voya representative with Sarala. I'm sorry if it's okay if I pronounce that incorrectly. Thank you for joining us, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, and you did a great job at Carla, so very good.
Thank you.
I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Well, just whenever you get them, just tell me to listen.
There
Great,
we go. I
thank
think everybody
you.
can see my screen now.
Yeah?
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you again for having us be part of today's meeting. We appreciate the partnership. And in preparation for today's meeting and speaking with Catherine, we felt it would be helpful or beneficial to the committee for us to provide you with an overview of the services that we provide and the support to you so that we can keep your plan running smoothly. I've also invited my colleague, Lisa Gilardi, to join us today, and she's going to speak about some of the tools and resources that are available to you as you oversee your investments within the plan. And then, if time permits, I will go through the plan demographics and employee engagement. Go to the next screen. All right. So we view our role with St. Mary's County as a partnership. we're your partner, and there are a number of dedicated teams that are working to support your plan and to make sure that your employees have access to the tools and resources available so that they can be better prepared as they plan for retirement. So my role as the relationship manager is really to coordinate the support within Voya to on behalf of St. Mary's County, and so that you can achieve your goals and objectives. And I do want to highlight a couple of areas of resources and assistance. One is you have a dedicated plan manager. Her name is Devin Briggs. She's located in our home office, which is in Windsor, Connecticut, and her role is to assist with the day-to-day administration of your plan. So if there's special reporting or you have payroll questions, she's the one that will be able to provide that support. So I know she's in touch with Catherine and Karen on a regular basis, and she's also there to ensure that your plan is operating in accordance with the provisions that you've selected. So another resource is our technical services team. They're the team that will provide plan document support, and if you're contemplating any plan design changes, we'll work directly with them to get some guidance with those types of changes, as well as they'll keep us apprised of any regulatory or legislative changes that are taking place and any impact that that may have to your plan. Another resource is Lisa and her team. Oftentimes these teams are working behind the scenes to help support your plan, but it does make sense to periodically have a team member speak with you directly, and that's why Lisa is part of our meeting today. So as your partner, our goal is to make sure to help you make sure that your plan is running smoothly. And there are a number of services that you can outsource to Voya and that we administer them on your behalf. And what you see here are the list of services that we're providing on your behalf today. Now, as we continue to work together, there may be additional services that you would like us to take over, so we'll periodically review that. I'll work with Catherine and her team to identify those services that we should take on. Anytime that we can identify efficiencies, save time for you, we're happy to do so. And as I mentioned, there are a number of resources available to you through the plan sponsor website. They're available, they're updated on a periodic basis, they're easily accessible. Catherine and her team have access to the plan sponsor website. So what I'd like to do is just highlight one particular resource, and that's the Voya Insights. That gives you access to articles that are designed to provide tips on how to improve retirement outcomes at both the plan and participant levels. There you'll see updates, legislative or regulatory updates. Right now there's an article about the Secure Act, a summary of the Secure Act. In addition to the fiduciary guide and the 457 deferred comp guide, we have a Voya Fund Evaluation Scorecard that's available on a quarterly basis. There's a lot of information, valuable information, available to you as the committee, I think, as you're looking at your investments. So what I'd like to do is just turn it over to Lisa, who's going to go through that tool with you at a high level and talk about the things that you should be looking at, and certainly give you an opportunity to ask her questions. And then she'll also talk about the full fund review that's available on an annual basis. So Lisa, and I'll share my screen again.
It would be good if I unmuted. Are you sharing the scorecard brochure?
I am going to bring that up.
Okay.
Here we go. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
We have, our Voya Fund Evaluation Scorecard is a quantitative tool that we look at all the funds within the universe on a quarterly basis and score them. You could go forward.
Go to the next slide.
Yes. We score them on a quarterly basis, and it's purely quantitative. So at this point, we're not making any value judgments or favoring one fund family over another. It's we're purely going through all of the metrics that we put in there, and we're looking at fairly standard metrics that most people would look at when they're looking at a fund. We do have a little bit more emphasis on consistency of returns and expenses because it's tailored towards the retirement marketplace. We're not looking to rate a fund that's a roller coaster ride, the hot fund of the day, highly, because no participant likes to see their balance jumping around based on a fund that might be the number 1 today and the number 99 tomorrow. So there are several underlying metrics on each of these main categories, but the main categories we're looking at is performance, and that's rated the heaviest. And then there's risk, that's the next. Risk adjusted performance is similar to risk in its weighting. Then there's consistency of style, and that basically means if you have a small value fund, is it staying a small value fund, or is it jumping to mid-cap, or is it jumping over to the blend category? So are your funds staying in the box that you hired them to be in? And then expenses, where we're weighting expenses maybe a little heavier than a lot of other places because we feel that's very important to most plan sponsors. You might have seen, about a month ago, I gave you a report that includes the scorecard and a lot of Morningstar information. So our fund evaluation scorecard is basically the backbone of how we're looking at funds because we feel that it is the best way to look at the funds in a retirement situation. And if you could think about it, it's more of a look versus peers than versus the benchmark. The report I had given you last time has both the peer look and the benchmark look, but we like to look at peers because you can't buy a pure benchmark. You can either buy a fund that tracks the benchmark or you can buy an active fund. So, and what does it mean if you beat the benchmark by 1%? Maybe everybody else in the peer group beat the benchmark by 10%. So you don't know how good your fund is performing if you're just looking at did it beat its benchmark or not. So this is our attempt to look at all the metrics that are important when you're looking at a fund. Maybe go to the next screen. And I don't think we probably want to go through, all the detail on it, but just that, we're looking for, all those types, not just pure performance, but the risk and the consistency of style and the expenses. So I think we ended up going back. So go forward.
Right here?
No, we could probably go. I don't think we have to go through each one of the charts. In that top case report that we provided to you last time, there's these charts as well as many other charts. So you'll see charts that show the performance on a point in time, which is what you're used to seeing. And then we'll also look at the rolling performance. That's where you get that consistency. And we'll look at things such as, where it is versus the peer group. So let's go to the next page.
And that's the last one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can see the scorecard on a quarterly basis out on the sponsor website, or obviously from one of us, you can ask for it, and it'll be specific to your plan. And aside from the metrics that we're looking at, it does provide a numerical rating from 0 to 10, 10 being the best, 0 being the worst, and anything below a 4 would be a watch list. So we would provide you with not only the numerical score, but there's a verbiage score which would say excellent, very good, fair, watch list, so that you can see what how your funds are performing. And obviously the ones that rate watch list are the ones of most concern. Once a year, normally once a year, I would run the top case report, as we like to call it, that would show you all the details of both the scorecard and of Morningstar and typical other metrics that people like to look at, like batting average. So you can see your fund in all the different ways that someone would look, and also provide explanation of what's going on with the funds, so that sometimes it can be a little overwhelming just to see a number, but I can say to you, this is the way they run money. They're sticking with the way they run money, and the market did not favor their style, or they actually did a bad job of picking their holdings this year, or there was a change in the structure of the company, they were bought out, or the manager left. So we're able to give color to the pure numbers. And then also, obviously, when in between quarters, if you had a question, we can help answer that. If there was, if you said we would like to order we would like to put more socially responsible funds in the menu, what are some that could be good to add? We could help you with something like that. Or, as you're looking at your scorecard, you could decide that you're concerned about your mid-cap value fund, and should we be concerned? So it can also be looked at off-cycle if you see something concerning, or if you know that you have a Wells Fargo fund and you heard that they sold their investment management arm, and you want to know, should I be concerned about that? We can always do and answer those type of questions off-cycle. So I think that's pretty much what I have.
This is Catherine. May I ask a question, please?
Certainly.
So just to clarify, you will not recommend removing a fund, though, is that right? You don't make recommendations for our action, you just present the information?
Right. We would point out to you the poorly rated funds, and we would tell you whether it seems concerning or not, because sometimes a fund might be underperforming in the short term, or a manager has changed, but you're confident that the fund family has, is on the ball. You might want to give it more time. So we hope to give you enough information so that you can make a decision. But we are not taking on the fiduciary liability of actually recommending or telling you what to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Lisa?
If I could also just ask, so on the fourth page of the presentation, so out on that site, there's a fiduciary investment guide, is that right, that we could access?
Yes, and I can send that to you, Catherine.
Okay, and then a checklist as well? I think if you go to the last page, it lists it, and then a sample investment policy statement, because I think those would be the tools that we need for our next steps.
Right, and I did, regarding the sample investment policy statement, because they can be rather complex. That we do not have a sample investment policy statement to provide you. It's something that we would strongly encourage you to work with legal counsel to develop that. Again, because it's complex, there's so many variables taken into consideration. I think even if we were to provide a sample, it would still require you to work with an outside entity.
The sample that was included in this was a one-page simplistic sample that you would probably find that wasn't sufficient. And they tend to have to be tailored to the type of plan you are. So there's different verbiage that has to be included if you're a corporation or a governmental entity or, a educational entity. So, plus, you can choose different metrics that you prefer to use to look at a fund. And also it does detail what are the responsibilities of your committee and the other various portions of, what's the responsibility of the record keeper. So there is a lot of customization based on how your plan is run.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions or comments?
Good information.
And is there still time to go through the plan demographics?
Yes, there is.
Okay, perfect. There we go. And so what we do on a quarterly basis, semi-annual basis, part of my role is to kind of bring all this information together where we provide you with a plan health update, and during these meetings, we're identifying any potential changes that you would like to make. I'll provide you with an update of the engagement, your employees' engagement with the tools, the resources, as well as the local representative. And then from there, we'll take this information, at least on an annual basis, and use it to develop an education and engagement strategy for the upcoming year. So here, what we have is the plan demographics for a one-year period. Sorry about that. One-year period starting April 1st through March 31st, and the prior year as well. So what I'd like to do is just focus on the far right-hand column, and what you'll see is the beginning of the year, we had 12.2 million in assets, and then we added another 1.1 million was added through payroll deferrals, and majority of those deferrals were done on a pre-tax basis. And I do want to point out that these contributions were up 24% compared to the previous one-year period. Also, the distributions were down in comparison. Other activity is a combination of asset transfers, fees, and revenue credit. So for the most recent one-year period, that number is lower than the previous year, and a lot of it had to do with the asset transfers. We didn't have as much money coming into the plan from outside retirement accounts. There was market appreciation, so it added another 3.5 million in assets, and we ended the period with almost 17 million. Again, as I look at these numbers, they're all great signs of a very healthy plan. If we look at additional demographics, we added 18 new accounts during the most recent one-year period compared to the previous year. We had 7 individuals that left the plan. Most likely they separated from service, decided to close out their account and receive the money or transfer it to another retirement plan. So we ended the period with 336 participants. Keep in mind this number, the 336, is a combination of active employees as well as individuals that separated from service. So of that number, we have 76 individuals or participants that separated from service that still chose to keep their money within the plan. And of that, 14 have less than $5,000. If you go to the bottom table, you'll see the average account balance is $50,591 compared to the benchmark, so significantly higher than the benchmark. And the average deferral amount was $162, which is about 15.9% higher than the prior one-year period. And then the average investment is 1.7 compared to the 2.7 in case you're wondering why that number is lower, anytime that you have target date funds as a default fund, you're going to see that it will be lower than the benchmark. And here's a breakdown of the assets and contributions by asset groups. And what you'll see here is majority of the assets are in the target date funds at 75%. Are in the target date funds, as well as majority of the contributions are going into the target date funds again. And that's a result of the target date funds were the default fund, and typically you see very little movement once the money goes into the target date funds. And they are well diversified funds. You have 283 participants that are utilizing one fund. So about 97.5% of those funds or assets are within the target date funds. And look at the breakdown across the entire investment. Here, again, no surprises. I will say your employees are very engaged. And what we have seen is when employees are engaged, they tend to have better retirement outcomes. Here, they're engaged with our customer service center, and they're engaged digitally. And when I look at these numbers, they are higher than other plans that we work with, other government plans. So I do want to, congratulate Catherine and her team on this, because it's with their support that we're able to get information out to the employees, and they're reading, they're taking advantage of the tools and resources, and we'll continue to work together to identify ways to even further enhance engagement within the plan and promote all the tools and resources within the plan. In addition to engaging digitally, they're engaging with your local representative, Marta. And here I have just the engagement over the last 3 months. But if I take a look back at the past year, she's engaged with 357 employees. And she's engaging with them through calls and virtual appointments. And what we've seen over the past year with the pandemic is individuals are less apt to schedule an appointment. They're just picking up the phone and calling representatives, and that's the case here. Majority of the engagement with Marta is via a phone call, and which is, I think, great news, because individuals feel comfortable just picking up the phone and calling her while they're thinking about their question, and she's able to assist them. And the main 3 topics that have come up within at least the last 3 months is really about account reviews. How are they doing? Reviewing their beneficiaries, which is so important. And for those individuals that are contemplating retirement with the next 3 to 5 years, they're having those discussions with Marta to understand what their options are at that time, and how this plan complements any other savings that they may have. Marta is also proactively contacting participants to give them a little nudge, set up that one-on-one appointment, and make sure that they're maximizing this benefit. I'm excited to share with you that we recently created a Brain Shark that provides an overview of the plan itself. It's designed to give individuals that are not participating an overview of this employee benefit. And for those that are comfortable enrolling on their own, there are directions within the Brain Shark. And for those that would like assistance, they can contact Marta directly. And for those of you that may not know what a Brain Shark is, it's really a PowerPoint with a voice overview. So again, everybody's busy. It's just another way that we're engaging with individuals, and the information is available to them at any time, where they can view it. And definitely assistance is available. We've also begun to include information. Cindy's done a wonderful job including information in the newsletter. I am excited again to say that starting June, we will resume the on-site visits at least once a month. The first one is June 9th, and going forward, MARTA will be there on the second Wednesday of every month, and we'll continue to work with Catherine and her team to identify opportunities for group education. In addition to MARTA and the other resources, these are a number of resources are available to participants at any time. So and we can certainly look to incorporate some training sessions down the road where we could do a deeper dive into how to access these tools and the best way to use them. And with that, that's my formal presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Questions or comments?
Thank you.
No, I appreciate all the information. Thank you.
And I just will add for the
Thank you.
group, Marta and Sarla and I have talked about taking advantage of July 1 pay increases and encouraging people to increase their deferral at the same time. So you should see a blitz of information, late June, early to mid-July. So right around the time they get that first paycheck.
Wonderful.
Just out of curiosity, how many possible participants are there? And so what percentage of our employees are participating?
Oh, I would have to look at that. So the benefit is extended to anyone 20 hours or more.
Okay.
So it's hourly and enterprise employees as well. So it's a larger number.
Okay.
Because of that.
Well, doesn't it say here on the one chart, like end of period participants, like 336?
Yeah.
Chris was asking of how large a group.
Like these are who's participating,
Right.
how many could participate.
Right.
My guess is probably 900 if I
Okay.
had to pick a number.
I'm wondering how that compares to
So
maybe some
third.
other places in terms of we're 30% or something like
Right.
that. Something.
Right. I could certainly try to get that information for the next meeting. So, and always trying to increase that number.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty high.
Yeah, that's great. Zane, Marvin, anything for the group?
Nope. Thank you.
No, not from here. I definitely appreciate all the hard work they put into it.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate the presentation today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Let's see. Then it says for old business, we have 457 Plan Services Agreement amendments. Catherine?
Thank you, Dr. Bridget. I really wanted to follow up on one of the slides that Sarla presented describing the administrative services that Voya offers the plan. And two of the more recent services that we've entered into an agreement with them for is to assist employees who are applying for an emergency withdrawal or a hardship withdrawal, and then also to assist in the administration of a quadro. And that is a qualified domestic relations order if somebody were who had assets in the plan was being divorced. Often there's a court order that separates the assets among the members. Voya has agreed and is providing admin services for both of those functions, in addition to all the other functions that they provide.
Good, thank you. Yeah, good information. Any questions or comments from the group? And I don't think there was a motion, right, Catherine?
It was just informational. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Committee reports, administrators report.
Thank you, Dr. Bridget. Since our last meeting, we've only had one bill that was paid, and it was the fiduciary liability coverage, and that was on April 19th, 2021 to RCM&D, and that was for $6,283, and that leaves a account balance of $28,799.85.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, then we'll entertain a motion to approve the administrator's report, please.
I move to approve the administrator's report as presented.
I move to, sorry.
That's okay. Would you like to second, Marvin?
A second, no problem.
Thank you. Any comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great, thank you. Thanks very much. And this completes our meeting for today for the 457B Governance Committee. Any other activities for today?
If I may I just bring up another item? One of the things that have come up is we're talking about plan engagement and participant engagement. Currently, when people enroll in the plan, their option is for a dollar amount. And some of the strategies include we could offer a dollar amount or a percentage. So as your pay increases, your deferral would automatically increase, or we could offer strictly a percentage. So there's 3 different ways somebody can enroll in the plan. If we were to change from just the dollar amount, which we currently have, we'd have to amend the plan. And I didn't know if the board wanted to consider doing so, again, with the idea that we might be able to increase engagement and participation.
I'm thinking, should we go out to the members and see if they would be interested in that? I mean, there may be some who might not want the percentage, to kind of get a feel for.
So people who are currently enrolled would not be changed, and it would be for new enrollments. And I think if we offered both the dollar and the percent, people would have that option. Strictly a percentage is, I think, a little bit more aggressive, but I'm not sure if the board is comfortable going there.
I like offering both. I mean, a second option, the percentage would be nice, but as long as you can still offer the dollar amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would the board entertain a motion? Because then what I could do is prepare a plan document, an amendment. I would request the commissioners approve it, and then if the board is so willing, I would include a note saying that the board supports the change.
I'll move to offer a percentage option for contributions.
In addition to the...
In addition to the dollar contribution.
And I'll second.
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, good.
Great. Then motion carries.
Great. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And that'll be another step.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Anything else for today? All right. Hearing none, our motion is, let's see, I move to adjourn, I think. Let me see. Yes, to adjourn the 457B Governance Committee.
So moved.
Second?
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.